Hi guys. Holy, I think I need to cut my hair this afternoon. It's looking quite the disaster. So it seems like people want to see me spin up my Yeet for dye yarn or yarn fiber. So I'm just going to spin up a small chunk of this today and ply it back itself just so we can see how it will look in the end. Now I know from previous times spinning this yak silk that the best way to do it is with really high twist to catch those very short yak fibers in the twist. Otherwise you just end up with silk. So I'm going to see, looks like I've got the full play of colors to here. So I'm going to fluff. I'm just loosening this up so I can pull off a chunk. There we go. Now you can also see the other problem with spinning the yak silk. Can you hear that static? It is like such a lush fiber, but it does have its challenges. So I've got my high-speed flyer on my spinning wheel because now that my knee is fixed up, I can use my spinning wheel. I'm so excited. And I'm going to spin up this bit of yarn and we're going to see how it looks in the end. So let me adjust my camera and we'll get started. 1 second. All right, my house is a complete disaster because I've moved everything upstairs from downstairs and I have my room rental ready to go. So don't mind the mess in the background. So here we go. I'm going to start off with a little chunk of this. I'm going to fluff it out. Gosh, I love this color. It's so pretty. It's just like a bronze. It just turned out so amazing. I'm just thrilled with it. All right. Now, you can see that if I tried to spin from the fold, it's going to be a lot of fiber. So always what I do is just take off a little piece. Make sure it's fluffy. You're going to find if you're spinning a yak silk blend, because the fiber lengths are so dynamically different, you'll want to make sure it's really fluffy before you start spinning. It'll make it easier in the long run. All right. So we are going to, I just have a little tiny thread on this so I can spin nice and thin. Holy, I think I have a little too much uptake on that. There we go, that's better. Maybe not, now I have too little uptake. I think my problem is my drive band is too tight. Oops, now it's way too loose. Welcome to my real life. Okay, let's move this up a bit. Get the drive band back on. It has been a long while since I have spun on my wheel, so I'm a little rusty. All right, let's try that. We may have to adjust our tension again, but we're going to give it a shot. Nope, that's good. Now, if you're spinning from the fold, generally you let the twist into the drafting zone and do like a long draw, but sometimes with this fiber I find I need to help it to grab both types, so I kind of do a short forward draw from the fold type spin so that I can control how the fiber is going in. It is going to want to be sticky and bunch up a bit on you, so that's why I kind of combine the two methods. And I mean, find whatever technique works for you. For me, this works brilliantly. So I can get both the short and the long fibers blended together, and I don't end up with like a big run of silk and then a little bloop of yak. All right, you can see how I've made a mess of my fiber supply here, so I'm just gonna tie that off for a second. I'm gonna spread this out. You can see how this section here, that deep brown is the yak, and this part is mostly the silk. So what I'm gonna do, fold it in half and draft it out a bit, making sure that I'm getting that yak spread out amongst it. I'm going to pre-draft it out a bit and then spin from the end. Okay, so you can see here we got a big pile of yak. So I'm just going to draft, kind of spread that out. This is a very challenging fiber to spin, but it is so beautiful when it's done that I do it all the time. Now, your other option is to turn it into little puny roll eggs, and those will spin up beautifully as well. Okay, you can see here I have another lump of yak. So I'm going to spread that out and then draft it out. All right, so now I have it spread out, and I'm just going to spin from the end. And ignore my phone. It's probably my brother who likes to text one sentence at a time. The trick is to just really control how that yak and silk blend together, because they are going to want to separate. I have no idea how they even make this with the yak evenly distributed amongst the much longer silk. It's a mystery to me. I'll try to do it down here so you can see it over my black pants. And it does like to spin thin. So you can see here I got a little bump of yak. So I'm just going to untwist, spread that out a little bit, and let the twist back into it. Yeah, this is spinning like cobweb fine. Just probably a little thinner than I wanted, but we're just going to roll with it. And apparently I need to lube up my wheel because it's making complaints. So this tends to be a focus spin, so I wouldn't recommend watching TV while doing this. Okay, give me a second. I just want to finish this and then I will lube you, okay? Jeepers, Lars. Take a pill. All right, there we go. That's our first little batch done. And on our wheel. So now, since Lars is being complaining boy, we're going to have to give him a little spritz. Using your high-speed flyer requires a lot more lubrication because you're dealing very high RPMs. All right, there we go. Now, I'm going to work my way through this fiber. I'll just put you on time lapse and we'll come back when we're ready to ply. So here's our singles. I'm just going to chain ply it because there's not a whole lot, but I'm loving that shiny coppery hue that it has. It's very pretty. So let's see how it translates when we chain ply it. Now I did spin with a heck of a lot of twist because there's nothing worse than your singles constantly breaking. And I may have to change from this lazy Kate to my arched lady Kate because sometimes the weight of the bobbin causes the singles to break. So putting them onto a sideways lazy Kate generally makes it easier, but we will see. So I spun S and I'm going to ply Z. And I'm probably getting way too much twist in those singles. Or the singles in the ply. Let me see. No, not too bad. I'm going to increase my uptake. And I'm going to slow my trebling. Now, because I did put so much twist into it, a little bit of extra twist in the ply is not going to hurt it. All right, let's see how we're doing. Perfect. That's just what I want, is that nice soft ply back. When I wash it, it'll take out some more of that twist and it'll be just about perfect, I imagine, because I want this to be fairly tight to keep that yak in the twist. So I'm going to finish plying this up. I'll come back when it's time to take it off the wheel. All spun up and onto the nitty naughty. Let's take it off and see how much of a spring we get. I'm expecting a lot of spring. Oh my goodness. It's way more balanced than I thought it would be. See, look, barely a curl to it. I'm impressed with myself. So the final part of that plying was a nightmare. It kept snapping, so I just knotted it up and kept going. I wasn't very fancy with it because this is just a small sample, so I wasn't too worried about it. But here it is in skein form. There's the colors. It ends up taking on almost a green tone over some of it, which is really interesting because there is no green showing at all in the roving. There it is. So I think to get a really good look at how this is going to be when it's used, without washing it, I know, I just want to get it done for you guys. I'm going to grab some needles and I'm going to knit up a quick swatch of this so you can see how it looks when it's used. Be right back. All right, I just did a quick knit to show you guys how it looks when it's done up. And there it is. If you look, I don't know if you can see it, but I can. Really closely, there's a slight halo from the yak, but the silk gives it that shine. And the colors together, I think, are amazing. As I was knitting it, I'm like, oh, I have to make a whole sweater out of this. Never gonna happen, but I can dream. It feels, because I haven't washed it, it's still pretty twisty, but with a wash, this would soften up so beautifully. And just, it would make amazing clothes. Like, there is no scratch. None at all. It's wonderful. So that's the yak silk Yeet for dye spun up and knit into a sample just to see, let you guys see how it turns out in the end. And there's the stuff that I didn't knit up, because I'm probably going to pull it out and actually use it for something. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Dr. Chaos out.